The judgmental stares followed Kiara the moment she stepped into the law firm's conference room. 19 years old, with her hair in neat braids and wearing a simple but clean dress, she was an immediate anomaly. That was all it took for the prestigious Croft family to dismiss her. Is the catering staff lost? The question came from Julian Croft, the nephew of the late industrialist Marcus Thorne, and it was met with a wave of quiet, condescending laughter. Before we continue, tell us where in the world you are watching from. Drop it in the comments below. And if you enjoy this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more powerful content like this. Kiara stood her ground, her gaze fixed on the large empty chair at the head of the polished mahogany table. Her aunt, Isabel, adorned with glittering jewels and a silk dress that cost more than Kiara's entire wardrobe, didn't bother to hide her disdain. It must be another of my brother's charity projects. She's probably here to beg for a scholarship. Kiara took a slow, deep breath. The pressure of being the sole focus of so much negativity in a room filled with powerful, white faces was immense, but she refused to let them see her break. Her eyes drifted to the awards and photos on the wall, testaments to the massive empire Marcus Thorne had built from the ground up. The girl clearly made a mistake, added Robert, the eldest son and acting CEO of the family business. Someone should show her out before Mr. Davies arrives. This is embarrassing. No one saw the ghost of a smile on Kiara's lips as Franklin Davies, the family's lawyer for over 4 decades, entered the room carrying a worn leather briefcase. His expression was unreadable as he nodded to each member of the Croft family. "Miss Kiara," he said finally, gesturing to the only vacant seat, positioned directly beside his own. "Please." A stunned silence fell over the room. Julian, who had been sipping water, nearly choked. Isabel clutched her expensive handbag so tightly her knuckles went white. "Excuse me, Davies," Robert interrupted, straightening his tie. "Do you know this young woman?" The lawyer gave a slight nod. "Of course. And you should all know her as well. This is Kiara Jones, Mrs. Eliza's daughter. Kiara has been helping her mother clean this very office on weekends since she was 14. "The cleaning lady's daughter," Isabel sneered. "What is she doing at a private reading?" Kiara finally sat, her back perfectly straight, her face a mask of calm despite the storm of hostility directed at her. She had made a promise to herself that she would not shed a tear, no matter what they threw at her. Franklin Davies opened his briefcase. "We are gathered for the reading of the last will and testament of Marcus Thorne," he announced, his voice carrying authority, "who passed away 2 weeks ago after a long illness." His niece, a young woman named Chloe, who had been scrolling on her phone, seized the opportunity to snap a photo of Kiara. "A will-reading crasher," she typed, posting it to her social media. Some people have no shame. The post immediately started getting reactions, while Julian whispered to his cousin, "I bet Uncle Marcus left a few thousand for the staff. A nice little charity bonus." No one paid attention to Kiara's steady gaze on the lawyer's hands as he opened the sealed envelope. To them, she was less than a ghost. "Before I begin the formal reading," Davy said, "Mr. Thorne left a video to be played first." Robert rolled his eyes. "Another one of my father's theatrical gestures. Can we just get to the inheritance?" The lawyer ignored him and turned on a large screen on the wall. The tired face of Marcus Thorne appeared, weak from his illness, but with a sharp, determined look in his eyes. "If you are watching this, it means I'm gone," he began, his voice raspy but clear. "And I'm sure you're all anxious to learn how my assets will be divided." He paused, his gaze seeming to sweep across the room from beyond the screen. "But first, I have a question. Can any of you tell me the name of Eliza's daughter?" An awkward quiet filled the room. Robert looked confused. Julian shifted in his seat. Isabel suddenly found her manicure fascinating. "I didn't think so," Marcus continued, a sad smile touching his lips. "That girl has been in and out of our lives for 5 years, helping her mother. And not one of you, my own flesh and blood, ever bothered to learn her name." Kiara felt a lump form in her throat as Marcus spoke. "I watched how you treated her, how you treated all the employees like they were disposable furniture, and that told me everything I needed to know about your character. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife." Chloe had dropped her phone. Julian was sweating. Robert looked pale. What nobody in that room knew was that behind the quiet dignity of the young black woman they all scorned, there was a story that would change all of their lives. A story Marcus Thorne had uncovered in his final months, and which was about to detonate in that very room. The video continued, Marcus's voice echoing with purpose. "In my final months, I started paying attention to how you treat people when you think no one of importance is watching. What I saw disgusted me, and then I started to notice Kiara. While you ignored her, I saw a brilliant young woman who studied late into the night after her work, who took care of her ailing mother, and who still managed to read the classic books in my personal library." Robert shot to his feet. "This is absurd. Davies, this can't possibly be legal." The lawyer didn't flinch. "Everything is in perfect legal order, Mr. Croft." On the screen, Marcus almost seemed to laugh. "I know you're all shocked. Robert is probably already threatening to sue." The eldest son went pale as he heard his father's prediction. "What you don't know," Marcus said, "is that I spent the last few months talking with Kiara. She would join me during her breaks, and she told me about her dream to become an architect." The video ended, and Davies picked up another envelope. "Before I read the main clauses of the will, there is one final document to present." "This is insane," Julian shouted. "A maid cannot inherit the empire our family built." Kiara finally spoke, her voice quiet but firm. "Your family didn't build anything, Mr. Croft. Your great-uncle Marcus started this company by selling tools out of the back of his car. The only ones who were handed everything are you." The silence that followed was absolute. Davies cleared his throat and began to read. "I, Marcus Thorne, do hereby bequeath to Miss Kiara Jones 51% of the shares of Thorne Industries, my primary residence, all properties listed in Appendix C, and the sum of $30 million in liquid assets." "That's undue influence," Robert roared, his face turning a blotchy red. "That girl manipulated a sick old man." Davies held up a hand. "If you would allow me to finish, there are conditions. Miss Jones will gain full control of the assets upon her 21st birthday. Until then, the company will be managed by a board chaired by myself and Dr. Alicia Evans." "Dr. Evans?" Isabel gasped. "The oncologist? What does she have to do with this?" As if on cue, the conference room door opened and a poised, middle-aged black woman in a sharp suit entered. Her eyes found Kiara's, and she offered a warm, supportive smile. "Dr. Evans was more than your brother's physician," Davies explained. "She was the one who formally introduced Kiara to Marcus after seeing how the young woman cared for her own mother at the same hospital, long after you had fired Eliza when she became too ill to work." Dr. Evans nodded. "Eliza and I were old friends from college. When I saw her at the clinic, I couldn't help but notice the incredible daughter she had raised. What no one knew was that this entire chain of events was set in motion 3 months prior, when Kiara had gone to Robert to ask for a small advance to pay for her mother's medication. He had not only refused, but had berated her in front of his executives. "I don't have time for the personal problems of the staff," he had said. That very afternoon, Dr. Evans had found Kiara crying in a hospital corridor. After hearing her story, the doctor made a choice that would alter everyone's destiny. She introduced the young woman to her other patient, the powerful Marcus Thorne. The real power transfer had already begun.